me introduce our next candidate. Entry number 9, please give a warm applause to Mr. Maximiliano Villalba, Vice President from Neutrona Network Service Management and Operations.
皆さん、こんにちは。今日は本当にありがとうございます。That's the only thing I know to speak this in Japanese, but at least I wanted to greet our host in their native language. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks in advance for your kind attention. And similarly to what you are asked before your plane takes off, please turn off all your electronic devices and fasten your seatbelts because I will need all your attention for the next 12 minutes. Not 15, 12, I promise. So, it's a real honor to be here representing Neutrona, together with my colleague Tim Allen. Neutrona Networks is a neutral and independent Latin American carrier with more than 15 years of experience in the industry. The sole purpose of our existence as a company is to provide a superior service experience to our customers. And in order to do so, we need to be agile, we need to be flexible, and now, more than ever, we need to be innovative. So, with that said, and in accordance to these principles, the presentation that I'm just about to give doesn't intend to put a band-aid over our major issues, operational issues, but rather to overcome them for good. So, with that said, I would like to start with a very brief summary on last ACF discussion groups and the feedback and the conclusions. It was really good to understand that we are all on the same page and that we all strive for service excellence for our customers. On top of that, all of us value the partnerships that we have in place because that allowed us to drastically extend our reach to better serve our customers globally. But the flip side is that whenever we integrate a partner, we are talking about third party, we lose control, we lose visibility, and they're a key component for an effective travel isolation and repair monitoring. So last year's conclusions were that we needed to create a mutual cooperation environment, and in order to do so, trust, transparency, and innovation were must for succeeding. So, where are we at now in 2017? As of today, there was no substantial evolution in network integration. I'm not talking about isolated companies, I'm talking about a mutual network integration. We are still blind when it comes to a third-party network. Our NOCs keep communicating between them the same way they used to do it 20 years ago, through email, phone calls, or best case scenario, a ticket portal. So, we are still operating like isolated islands. And this goes completely against our goal, that is to fill the gap that we were discussing yesterday about the customers, on one hand, customer expectations that are continually growing, and our ability to address those needs with real quality. So, what is happening today when we need to deal with a service incident, with a live service incident? Typical scenario, NOC 1 detects a proactive alarm on their monitoring system. Then they start the troubleshooting process. Our friend here on the upper right corner, Mickey Mouse, will help us to track the time so that we can have a clear timeline. Up to this point, these two steps take about 15 and 30 minutes, being really optimistic. And as we mentioned that the problem was isolated on a third party, we don't have visibility at all. So what we need to do is to get in touch with the provider, in this case provider A, and either through the phone, an email, or ticket portal. We will eventually receive a human acknowledgement. This process takes up to, in total, 90 minutes. So, provider A starts doing its own troubleshooting. If they are really tidy, they will gather all the technical evidence, and finally, will prepare a very beautiful email with all their findings and conclusions and send it back to NOC 1. In total, these all last 3 steps takes, in average, 1 hour, at least in our region. Then, we are talking about reaching 150 minutes with a live incident. So up to this point, it is what it is. It may be better, but at least the communication comes and goes. It's good. But what if provider A says that they are not seeing any issue on their portion, on the network? And at this point, I would like to do a very good pause and ask to the audience and to raise your hand, everybody of you who works on operations and maintenance, or at least know the challenges that we face on a daily operations. Come on, don't be shy. Okay. Out of the people who raise your hands, who has never received this kind of response for a carrier before? Please stand up, because I want to applaud, in case there's anybody there. Nobody, right? Why? Because it's a commonplace. This happens hundreds of times a day. So again, why? This is what not one is asking. The provider raised a concern, raised a doubt. So, at least just in case they will, not one will do a double check, just to be sure that they didn't miss anything. This takes more and more time. So we are talking about reaching 210 minutes. So let's not forget about an important character here, the end customer. What is he doing now? He's getting mad because we are reaching the MTTR, the 4 hours MTTR, and we don't have any substantial update to share with him. He's right to be mad. This is unacceptable, but it happens. That's the reality. So we do have a problem. So we will probably be receiving a high-level escalation up to this point, and we don't have anything to share. So continue with this process. After their double check, not one will send reply back to provider A saying, once again, I insist the problem lies in your network. Provider A in turn will check back again, double check, because they are now in doubt. This is a true story. So we are talking about 270 minutes, that's a lot of time. Once again, provider A is completely sure that they are seeing, they double check everything, they are being honest, but they are not seeing any issue on their portion, and they are suggesting, not one, to look somewhere else. So up to this point, there's one thing that we need to consider on top of the processes and communication, and it's the human frustration. Up to this point, there is a high level of anxiety and frustration because we are not managing to understand each other. So, best case scenario, we will have a very bright and proactive NOC engineer that instead of keeping those emails, endless emails, back and forth, he will suggest to jump on a live conference call to do that live troubleshooting together. But even doing so, we may not reach an agreement. And if this carries on for more time, in a few hours, we will have a clash of the titans. So we have Godzilla represented NOC 1, we have King Kong represented provider A, and the house over there that both titans are damaging is the end customer. It's the end customer that is suffering because our inability to effectively communicate between us. So, this is the future we propose. Using exactly the same scenario, NOC 1 detects an alarm on their system, they started troubleshooting, they once again isolated the issue on a third-party network, but this time they can fully see what's going on their partner's network. So let's use a typical topology. We have NOC 1 network, an interconnection point at any given place or city in the world. In this case, I'm using Miami. And then we have providers A network, and including the local loop to reach the local customer premises. Let's suppose that there is an international capacity issue between Miami and Sao Paulo. This time, NOC 1 will be able to specifically tell where the failure is. They only need to confirm with provider A if they are seeing the same thing, and the answer will be exactly, we are looking at the same map. There's no chance that we can have a disagreement with that. and they are really working on it. So we, provider A, we will be eventually fixing the international capacity. But what if, right after that the international capacity comes up, we detect an issue on the end customer premises? Once again, no one will be able to specifically tell what is going on, because now they can reach the providers A POP in Sao Paulo City, but now they are receiving a signal from the end customer premises telling that there's a power outage. How? With a feature called time gas. So again, they just need to talk to the provider A to confirm if they are seeing the same thing. Once again, it's correct. And as we have a very good provider A, they already talked to the local contact and confirmed that there was a commercial power issue at the site. So eventually, power will come back and the circuit will be restored. Finally, no one doesn't have to ask anybody anything. They just need to check their own monitoring system to prepare their storytelling, to go back to the customer and be able to tell what happened. It's very, very simple. It was a combination of an outage on international capacity between Miami and São Paulo, followed by a power outage at the customer site. So in a matter of minutes, no one will be able to share meaningful information with their end customer. Of course, the subtle details like where was the fiber cut, what was the distance, may take more time, but at least we will be able to go back to the customer and share something with them. So this sounds really great, but still it's a PowerPoint presentation. So how can we possibly achieve this in reality? Firstly, through a combination of our existing network infrastructure. Then with a SDN-based management system. And one of the most important components, the smart demarcation devices that we place at the end customer premises that gives us full visibility on what's going on. That means real-time SLA monitoring end-to-end. We can track packet loss, zero latency, bandwidth utilization, everything. Even if the end customer premises goes out because of a power outage, we will know it proactively without having to send anybody to the site, without having to even make a call. So up to this point, you may be thinking to yourself, build your product, but what's in it for me? And the beauty of this is that we don't want this for ourselves. We are not a bunch of selfish people. We want to share all this knowledge, all this experience, and this innovation with all of you. So there is one missing component. How can we share that information with you? And there it comes, our bridge, telemetry streaming services. This is the key. This will the bridge connecting our world, our network, allowing us to see the same things with no discrepancies. And again, the beauty of it is that it's extremely simple, really, really simple, and it's doable. It's as simple as subscribing to your Twitter feed. I'm sorry. So on the right side of the slide, you have the high-level architecture that unfortunately I won't be able to explain in detail, but I will be more than happy to talk offline with all of you. And on the left hand of the slide, we have the benefits. The first one is pretty obvious. The main benefit is an increased visibility and possible automation. The second point is that we don't need to consult any portal to access that data. Nowadays, we have some providers that they give you a user and password to allow a customer portal, but that's not scalable. In our case, in our experience, we manage plus 120 providers. I cannot ask my NOC to go and keep record of every single user and password until login to get information. It's not effective. Moreover, it means an effortless integration into partners' monitoring system. You don't have to invest in any hardware, in any monitoring system, everything's ready. So the conclusion is that we are not reinventing the wheel. We are bringing well-known technologies to our industry for the benefit of our end customer. This is a great opportunity to generate a concrete and positive impact to impress our customers through an enhanced communication and increased effectiveness for the troubleshootings. So following the Kaizen principles, PDCA, we are currently on completing the planning stage and we are moving forward to the execution. And for that point, we need all of you. Because in order to do this, we need to run proofs of concepts. So we are inviting you to walk the rest of this path with us. So as a closing remarks, I would like to quote some words from yesterday about disrupting the market before getting disrupted. And using some of the NTT principles as well, let's transform our industry and let's transcend our imaginary limits. Thanks.